So, if I'm honest, you probably have one of the craziest underdog stories
Mhm.
I've ever heard about Oxbridge applications. Would you mind sharing your story to Oxford with our listeners?
Sure. So rewind back to sixth form. I had some quite sort of extreme family circumstances, moved halfway across the country, end of year 12, and I'd gotten predicted ABCC for my UCAS grades. I was very confident that I was going to do much better than that in my exams, and I did. That's why I'm here. But at the time, I thought I had no chance of getting into Oxford. And that was what I was told by the person at my old school who was helping with the admissions. She said again and again, "You've got no chance of getting in. We don't think you're going to get better than your predicted grades. Basically, you're wasting your application here." And I agreed with them. I thought, no chance of getting in, but I'll just take a gap year if I don't get in, apply with my real grades. Um, Funnily enough, I got rejected from every university that I applied to other than Oxford. That was UCL. I think it took them 3 days to reject me. LSE, Bristol, and Bath. But I got into at that year, the most competitive course at Oxford to get into of economics and management. Um, and that was largely off the back of my entrance exam performance on the TSA section one, because we set the entrance exam before we get the interview invitations. And so I've talked to the people who were involved with my admissions at the college, and they said that basically they saw that because I did well enough on the entrance exam, they could see that there was something clearly wrong with my predicted grades and basically overlooked them. Because if the predicted grades were accurate and I wasn't going to meet the entrance requirements, I wasn't going to get in anyway. I needed A star AA to get into the course. And so I got invited to the interview. The interview went well, got in, got the place, was very surprised, changed my entire gap year plans, and, came and did my degree, just finished it now. Um, but yeah, it was very, very surprising to me and everyone in the school and everyone who I've talked to about it. But now that I know basically how important the entrance exam is for sort of overriding bad UCAS grades before applying, it makes a lot more sense. And I probably should have spent more time revising for the entrance exam in hindsight because I had no idea. But yeah, here I am.
Yeah, here you are at the top most competitive course at Oxford. I think it's a really amazing story, and I'd like to try and draw some sort of universal principle from your story. I think there'll be a lot of students who are watching this who might have shallower predicted grades. Their grades aren't as high as they think they are. Maybe their GCSE performance isn't as strong as the ideal Oxbridge candidate. So, what would you advise someone who was in a similar position to you, who maybe lacked that self confidence and self belief, but gave it a shot anyway?
I'd say that it depends specifically what course you're applying to, because some courses you have at Oxford and Cambridge, you have your entrance exam, the important ones before you get the interview sort of, yeah, rejections or admissions. It's for economics and management, with my course specifically, it's 5% per year get in, and 20% are interviewed. So it's 1 in 5 to get to the interview, 1 in 4 after the interview to get the offer. Once you're at the interview stage, you've pretty much passed the big hurdles of getting there, and it's selection based on how well it happened, how well you do in the interview at that point. Um, so getting to the interview is sort of the most important point if you're concerned about your UCAS predicted grades, or how well you've done at GCSEs, say. Um, Naturally, if you don't have an entrance exam before the interview stage, it could provide a little bit of an issue there. And you might consider, say, taking a gap year, applying with your actual grades. But if you have an entrance exam beforehand, the advice is pretty much do what you can to get the real grades that you think you can get. And to practice up on the entrance exam, do lots of past papers, at least for the TSA. Doing past papers is one of the best ways to revise it. Different entrance exams have different strategies. But for your A level grades are going to be a large determinant of if you actually hit the offer, provided you've done well enough on the entrance exam, done well enough on the interview. Um, Past papers is my strongest piece of advice, but close to the time you'll actually do it. What I always advise students I've tutored and what I did myself was to look through the specs, look through the textbooks, way ahead of time, be working through it throughout the year at school to do practice questions all the way along as you go. And in the last 3 to 4 months before your actual exams, do every single past paper, save for the last one or two. You can repeat them again and again because they do similar topics, similar kind of questions. You can identify what you're weak at. And very close to the exam, then you sit the last couple of years worth of entrance exams or past papers, depending on which you're revising for. Basically, get it done, try and get the grades. Entrance exam is very important for it. And you can always take a gap year and apply again.